What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Come on in, take a seat, cop a squat. You guys, we have 2 episodes of Raising Kanan we need to get caught up on. Episode 8 and episode 9. Next week is the season finale. Now, from my understanding, the next season has already been filmed. So we definitely know we're gonna get another season, which is why I feel like we're gonna get some cliffhangers next week, because there's just no way they can wrap up all of this next week. But I definitely like the direction that we're going. I like what's happening. I'm feeling the storylines. So come on in. And I took notes. Okay, so we're gonna start with episode 8. I'm gonna go in order, but y'all know because it's the type of show it is, I might bounce around. But come on in. Hey, what's up, Lovely 31? What's up, Majani? I don't expect a large crowd, and that's okay. It's Saturday night, it's whatever. So we're gonna get into it though. So we start off with episode 8, and Mama is dead, right? We know that we left off with the last episode with Rock basically doing what Marvin and Lou would not do. However, we didn't get nothing. We didn't get nothing. We didn't get nothing. We didn't get a funeral. We didn't get a memorial. We didn't get a program. Like, literally, we just see Lou talking to Imani about his mama dying. We see Rock and Jukebox packing up the house and having a conversation. And I get it that she wasn't a main character. Like, I get it, but damn, we can't even get a repass scene. What happened to the family that was down at the beach? Like, I feel like this was a perfect opportunity for them to circle back around to some of these family stories that I feel like they were going to give us, like at the end of season 1 when Rock sent Kanan away and she went to go get him at the beginning of season 2. And I feel like there's some family secrets in there that we haven't tapped into. I just feel like that was a missed opportunity. Maybe they just felt like it was just too much going on and they just didn't have time to do all of that. But I was like, damn, we can't even get a film program, repass. We can't get nothing. I don't know. Y'all tell me how y'all felt about that. Sorry, y'all, I put a little gloss on my lips. Y'all know, like my lips glossy. Okay. Now, while this is going on, they done went down. Marvin and his crew done went down to Quan's establishment and they done took Quan out. Now, I find a few things. Right, no meatballs, no cake, no nothing. We ain't even pour a little nothing out for the people that ain't here. Like, we didn't get nothing. But we see Marvin basically robbing Quan and then, of course, unaliving him and his crew. Now, I don't want to get too nitpicky, y'all. So y'all tell me if I'm getting too nitpicky. I don't want to get too nitpicky. But what I do want to say is, did Marvin have the intention of unaliving Quan when he went down there? Because it was almost like when he took his mask off and Quan was like, hey, you're Rock's brother. It was almost like Marvin was like, shoot. And then, like, oh, damn, now he knows who I am. So now I have to unalive him. The second thing is Quan had a mini army, right? Quan had a mini army around him at all times. How did they penetrate that? How did they infiltrate that? Thank you, Nubian. I appreciate that, my love. And again, I ain't trying to be too nitpicky, but I'm like, how did they penetrate that? You know what I'm saying? But neither here nor there. Quan is gone, which was a smart move on Rock's part because now it cut off Unique's supply. And with her knowing that her supply is coming, it puts her in a power position. It wasn't a bad move. I'm just questioning the move. like whether it was on purpose or not, like, you know. So then we see, like I said, we see Lou with his girlfriend. You know, because I've already watched episode 9, I know how this whole thing ends with Lou and the girlfriend. But when I was watching episode 8, in my mind, I was thinking it's something with her that I'm not feeling. Like I didn't think she was sent there. I didn't think that she was like a plant or a spy. I just was like, something about her just wasn't. I felt like she was coming on a little too strong. You know what I mean? Like, so it's like, you just met this man, y'all are in the early stages of dating, and I feel like she was demanding a whole lot from him. You know what I'm saying? But we'll get to, you know, we some things happen in episode 9. I'm trying to go in order, so we'll get to that when we get to that. We see B-Rilla coming up out the grocery store, the little bodega. What up, Shade? Child, I didn't stand her up for lunch, although I should have went to lunch with you because, well, no, I enjoyed my dinner, but for the time it took me to do what I did, I could have met up with you. Anyway, neither here nor there. What up, Xavier? Hey, boo. So we see B-Rilla coming out the bodega, and Kenyatta and his partner roll up on him, and he lets him know, listen, we're gonna go back and we're gonna get the right house, and you gonna take us, and you know, we need to make sure that you are down for the get down. Now, I'm gonna be honest with y'all, this whole scenario with B-Rilla, Kenyatta, and Lou, this whole scenario was a little interesting to me as well. Now work with me. On one hand, you had B-Rilla basically trying to punk Lou in the studio, right? You know, to the point where Lou was like, I need to take a walk before I do something I'm going to regret, kind of thing. But then later on in this episode, you have B-Rilla was like, yeah, because I heard you was that man in the streets. I heard you was that man out there in them streets. And the old Lou Thomas would have already took care of business. And I'm like, so if you knew that Lou Thomas was like that, why was you playing with him and testing his gangsta back in that studio, right? Then B-Rilla act like he wasn't really down for the get down. Like, you took this caper to Kenyatta. Kenyatta wouldn't have known nothing about this house with the money or nothing had you not taken it to him. And then you act like y'all thought they was gonna knock on the door and just ask for the money. Like, you was like, oh no, we bringing guns. Well, why are we doing that? I ain't signed up for this. What did you think that? Did you think Kenyatta was gonna say, knock, knock, knock? Can you please hand us that money that you have in this house? We'd appreciate it. Like, they went to rob a house. Most people take a weapon of some sort. So I felt like this whole B-Rilla situation was really confusing to me. Because on one hand, they had B-Rilla was acting like he was gangsta hood. And then on the other hand, he was acting like he was a punk. And then on another hand, he was, acting like he didn't know who Lou was. Then on another hand, it was like, oh shit, I heard you was that man. So I was confusion. But neither here nor there. B-Rilla, was like, nah, I ain't gonna tell nobody. I'm not snitching. I ain't no snitch. But he know he in trouble. Why would Kenyatta go back to the scene of the crime? That's just dumb. Well, you talking about the robbery? Xavier, you talking about the robbery? I mean, I thought it was stupid for them to go back to the house. Like, I get it that y'all felt like y'all missed it, that the money wasn't there, y'all were at the wrong house. I thought that was just a stupid move. Like, y'all just going to take this one up and take an L and be like, damn, we fucked up. We went to the wrong house and we got bodies. Like, you would think that they would want to. I just feel like nobody in this scenario was that bright. Even Lou, if I'm being honest, and we'll get to that in a second. But I don't feel like anybody was that bright in this scenario. Just none of them. Moving right along. So, OC is down to the tailor shop waiting on Unique. Now, I'm going to just go ahead and knock this one right on out the box because ain't no need in us dragging this out. OC is down to the place waiting for Unique because he can't go home because he know that Kanan is looking for him. Now, here's the thing. Again, y'all, I have questions. No, he didn't want to go back to the same house. He wanted to go to the actual house where the record exec was living. Remember, the record exec wasn't living in that house anymore. He was living in a different house, which is why the people who were living there got unalived. They were his tenants. So they wanted to go to the actual record exec's house. But I still think that was stupid. It was hot. It was way too hot. Like, you killed 2 white people in a very affluent neighborhood. It was just too hot. Like, I just didn't understand why they felt like they needed to go back. But neither here nor there. OC is sitting there waiting for Unique, and because he said he can't go back home and he's nervous. OC, what did you think the end goal was going to be here, sir? You are literally the only person that knew that Kanan was skimming money. Now, I still ain't figured out how y'all knew exactly which unit to go to steal the money, but that's neither here nor there. Not only that, and I know, again, y'all, I might be, what up, Don Boo? I know I might be, being a little too nitpicky. I know I might be. But on top of the fact that I don't know how you knew exactly what unit, because they showed you in your car. You never got out the car. At least they didn't show us that. You do know they have cameras in those places, right? And maybe not in the 1990s. Maybe they didn't have a camera, but I feel like they did. And Kanan, you could have at the very least found out who went in there, who went in the unit. But I understand why Kanan didn't do all of that, because in Kanan's mind, the only person I knew he was stealing the money was OC. So he just knew it was OC. Now, I don't think he connected the fact that OC might have been compromised or working with somebody until OC popped up, unalived. I think he thought OC just got greedy, followed him, stole his money. I really think that's what he thought. So Unique comes back to the tailor shop, and that's when he finds out about Quan. So he's upset, he's pissed off, and he is dealing with all of the issues with Quan. OC can't read the room. OC, this was not a good time, sir. I get it that you can't go home and you're scared and you worried about Kanan finding you. I got it. But you had to have understood that in that moment, Unique had a bigger problem. You had to have read the room and understood how upset Unique was. Now, I don't know what your end goal was. Like, you had to know, and I get it. Unique was threatening your life. But you had 2 choices. Choice number 1 was let Kanan know that Unique had you compromised, so Kanan might have been able to help you get out of the situation. Or choice number 2, you should have already had an exit plan before you took that information to Kanan. I mean, to Unique. But you didn't have either. So what did Unique do? Because OC is napping at his ankles. He ends up unaliving him right there in the tailor shop in front of 5, 6, 7, 10 witnesses. Okay. So OC gone. Now OC gone. We see Juke and Kanan meet up. And that is where Kanan lets Juke know what his theory is, that Rock is the one that took care of Famous. He gives her the breakdown about the cops on the street, yada, yada, yada. And Juke is like, no, Rock can't do it. Rock can't do it. And Kanan is like, yeah, what you're not going to do is tell me what my mother could or could not do, because we're not going to forget about D-Wiz. Now, I'm so glad, and this doesn't happen until episode 9, so I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but I am so glad that Rock threw that back in Kanan's face and was like, hold up. D-Wiz wasn't on me. D-Wiz was me cleaning up your mess. And I'm so sick of him keep throwing that in Rock's face, because at the end of the day, Kanan, you set all this shit off. Now, don't get me wrong. Rock got a lot of shit with her. I mean, the fact that she set you up to unalive your own daddy, which, of course, was definitely foreshadowing for Power, the original Power, where Tasha did the same thing to Tariq. However, thank you, Kenya. I appreciate that. But again, I'm sitting here like, that I get it. Okay, you can feel some kind of way about that one, Kanan. But we're not going to sit here and act like all these moves that Rock made, you didn't precipitate some of them. Remember when you decided you knew how to cook coke and you botched the batch and all them people came up, unalive down to the crack house? Like, we're not going to sit here and act like you didn't do nothing. We ain't going to sit here and act like you didn't do nothing wrong. Okay? So neither here nor there. Then we find out that that's when Kanan also tells Juke about OC. And she says, well, have you visited his mom yet? And Kanan was like, no. And she said, I'll do it. Now, we already know that we are seeing the transformation of Jukebox into who we met in Original Power. We know that we're dealing with, hey, Stefan, we know that we're dealing with that transformation, right? We know that we're seeing that. So whenever Juke says she gonna handle something, I always get nervous. Okay, I always get nervous, but we'll get to that. Juke, well, I'm gonna just go ahead and knock it out because it wasn't that big of a deal. Juke did go over to the house, and Juke ended up getting into it with the brother. The brother tried to assault her, and she got the upper hand on him and basically pulled her weapon on him. Again, I feel like this scene was just another scene to show us that the transformation of Jukebox, right? We're constantly seeing her in these situations where she is becoming that ruthless killer that we found her to be on the other side. You know what I mean? Rock's drugs are here. I love that houndstooth suit that Rock had on in this scene, baby. It was giving me what I needed. That coat that Rock has on in episode 9 too is everything. Matter of fact, I feel like I've seen that coat recently. Like, I don't know if it's like a reimagined, but baby, I was here for that. TJ, let me turn my notification. Yes, turn on your notifications. Yes, I do Kanan, Raising Kanan. I did the Original Power too. You can go back in my playlist. Okay. I do Force too, but I do all of the powers. Let me just say that. I do all of the powers. Okay. Okay. B-Rilla tells Lou what the deal is, right? B-Rilla tells Lou they in the studio, and B-Rilla's, his head's not in the game, and he ends up letting Lou know what the deal is, what's going on. Lou does what Lou does best. He goes down to the bookstore and tries to talk to Kenyatta. Not only is Kenyatta not open to the conversation, Kenyatta is disrespectful. And the sidekick, both of them are just disrespectful. So with that being said, Lou knows that, okay, I came down here to try to get B-Rilla out of this situation. Not only was I not successful, thank you, Xavier, thank you, boo. Not only was I not successful in getting B-Rilla out of this, I now have another enemy on my back, right? So Lou understands the game. He understands what's going on. See, I got notes, y'all. I'm going through my notes. Look at me with notes. Oh, and Rock. See, I said just what I said. I had notes. Now, Rock also told Marvin basically the drugs are here, and the drugs are on their way, and tells Marvin you need to get David in line and get him ready. Okay. Once they came in with that white man slave nonsense, I wanted them off my screen. All that Dr. Umar talk. Child, listen. Exactly. Unique is New Jersey is telling Unique he can't move. I find it interesting that Unique is with Russo and he's calling the shots, and Rock is with Stefano, and he's calling the shots. Like, neither one of them, for as much as they talk all this shit they talk, neither one of them is really in charge of their own situation right now. But neither here nor there. Now, the other thing that Kanan said, he told y'all, hold on, I might need to go out and come back in. I'm real staticky. Hold on, y'all. Let me go out and come back in. Give me a quick second. Okay, I don't think that helped. I think I'm still is. I don't know. Yeah, I know. Sometimes my internet is fine. Sometimes it's not. Sorry about that. Do the best we can with what we got. So, um, Kanan also told Jukebox that he was going to go talk to Pops and Snaps because he knows that they got a line with the NYPD and maybe they know something about what happened with Famous. So Kanan goes to talk to Snaps and Pops, and here the great mystery is solved, ladies and gentlemen. The mystery of who unalived Famous has been solved. Baby, it was Snaps and Pops. But can I be honest with y'all about something? Can we be real? But for the fact that Famous, and this is why Kanan, and I understand where Kanan is coming from. Kanan hates his mama. Kanan doesn't trust his mama. Kanan doesn't trust anything coming out of Rock's mouth. I get all of that. But for the fact that Famous was cool with the oh damn it, y'all. I knew I was going to do that. But my daggone microphone done failed, child. But for the fact that Famous was best friends with Kanan, he would have already been gone. When he came out with that first song, when he was talking about D-Wiz, he should have been gone. Okay, so can we be honest and say that but for the fact that the Thomas family had a soft spot for Famous should have already been gone? Okay? I mean, I'm sorry. We just gonna call a thing a thing. The Famous should have been gone. All right, sorry about that, y'all. Lord have mercy. Woo. And they said that basically, I feel like the cops were only supposed to get information from Famous, but the reality is, especially in the game, once somebody knows who you are and they know your face, which we're gonna get to that in the next episode, you already know what the deal is. Once those cops, like, even if Famous told them everything they wanted to know, which it sounds like he didn't, since he was tortured the way he was, even if they knew what they wanted them to know, we knew Famous was gonna go. We didn't know when and we didn't know who. Because I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I never saw Snaps and Pops coming. I don't know why we didn't. And I've watched other reviews and I've heard a lot. I mean, people thought Marvin. Hell, I even thought Marvin. I've heard a lot of theories, right? I thought he was going to overdose at 1.2. So that's what I'm saying. I've heard a lot of theories. So I wasn't shocked that Famous was gone. I'm just saying Famous should have been gone sooner. If we're gonna be honest about it, Famous should have been gone sooner. Let's call a thing, right? But neither here nor there. Snaps and Pops come to find out their cop friends picked them up. So what Freddie's crew told Kanan and Jukebox was true. They did get picked up. He did get picked up by some cops. They just didn't have it right about what, the who, the what, the when, the where, and the how. But they knew that he had got picked up by some cops. And he was like, basically Pops and Snaps was like they got sloppy. Now Kanan messed up. When he was talking to Pops and Snaps, he alluded to the fact that he knew or he had a theory about what happened to Famous. And at this point, they're so paranoid, they want to make sure that nothing can be traced back to them. Now, Snaps and Pops, I'm going to have to say this to you, if I'm being honest. Y'all been in this game long enough to know that Kanan would not have come to y'all direct if Kanan thought y'all were involved. So the fact that the only thing I can think of is that they were thinking maybe those particular cops can connect back to them. Because if somebody found out which cops it was, because you had to think that Kanan wouldn't have come to you asking for your help and alluding to he knew who it was if he thought it was y'all. Like, that don't even make no sense. But that's where Kanan messed up, and we're going to get to what ended up happening as a result of Kanan sort of slipping up and putting that out there. Now, while this is going on, Marvin meets up with Early, and Marvin finds out that Early took care of the problem like Marvin told him to. Now, Marvin, this one's on you. You told Early to take that it wasn't your problem and to handle it and do what he needed to do. You got to know the type of person you're dealing with. You have to understand that Early is the type of person that took that as, oh, do what I need to do, handle it, cool. I'm going to do what I need to do, and I'm going to handle it. So Early unalived the made man down at Howard Beach. Kanan is less than smart. Kanan is absolutely less than smart. Because Kanan is still starting fires and then get mad at his mama for how she's ending them. Because we're gonna take the scenario of Kanan of Rock trying to get Kanan to unalive his daddy. We're gonna put that scenario to the side for a second. But like I said, Famous, boom, should have been out of here. D-Wiz, you did that. The people that you killed down to the crack house, you did that. Even the situation with Ronnie, Kanan did that. Because he's so mad at his mama and he want to prove to his mama that that he knows he can handle his business without his mama's help. He was the one that went out here and started doing business with Ronnie. So if we gonna call a thing, the reason why Unique thinks that Rock has something to do with Ronnie's unaliving is because Kanan was in business with Ronnie and they was trying to do the okie doke and the double team. You see what I'm saying? Like, hello, Kanan. A lot of these fires that Rock is busy putting out, you fucking started them. The reason why Unique is running around town now coming after your mama's business is because he was in the cut and he saw what went down and he think that all of y'all was in on it together. He don't know that you went behind your mama's back and was doing business with Ronnie. He don't know that. Anyway. So Marvin now knows that he is in a world of trouble with Stefano when he finds out, because it ain't no if, because Stefano kind of already knows. He just don't know that he knows, but he kind of knows. And then Marvin finds out that when Early did the deed, he did it with his cousin Lydell, who got a big mouth. So we already knew the minute that Early said he had done it with his cousin Lydell, we already knew it was a RIP moment for Lydell. Like, we already knew that it was about to be some slow singing and flower bringing for cousin Lydell. And of course, later on in the episode, Marvin takes care of the loose leak. Marvin finally comes clean with Rock and lets Rock know everything that's been going on, the side deals and the back deals that he's been doing behind her back with Stefano. And now, of course, because I'm going to be honest with you, poor Rock, between Marvin effing up on her left and Kanan starting fires on her right, it's a wonder why this woman ain't just said F it and left town and left all of them to deal with all of that shit. She should have left town with, what's his name, Symphonique. First season, she should just went to North Carolina with Symphonique. She should have cleaned out her wherever she had her stash house. She should have took all that daggone money and she should just went down there with Symphonique and started a new life. Because all the men in her life ain't shit. We're just gonna call a thing a thing. All the men in her life ain't shit. I think that's what Rock is going to do in the series finale. Well, we have been debating this for 4 seasons, right? Is Rock still alive? Did she walk away and start a new life? Or when Kanan says he has to visit his mama, he talking about visiting her out of town or visiting her at the cemetery? That is the big question that I guess we'll find out at the end of the series about what happened. But I tell you what, I don't think Marvin make it much longer. Especially now that Lou's back. I'm sorry, that's in episode 9. We almost done with episode 8, child. We're going to move into episode 9, honey. Okay, let me look at my notes. Let me look at my notes. Okay. The cop visited Unique and basically let Garcia know you're on the radar. We think you killed your brother. Like, at this point, you done came back from the grave. Everybody thought you was dead. Your brother and a cop came up dead, and I never bought. My sergeant is on me to solve this cop's murder, and we think you good for it. That's definitely gonna come back around because of what we see happen in episode 9, but we'll get to that in a minute. Hold on, I already told y'all all of that. What we also see is all of the elements are lining up against Rock. You have Stefano telling Marvin he needs to move Rock out the way, that Rock is his hindrance. Now you got Snaps and Pops telling Kanan, you need to get rid of Rock. Rock, Rock is in your way. And then in episode 9, we see Unique telling Kanan the same thing. So we see all of the chess pieces moving to try to move Rock out of the way. And I think part of it is because everybody knows that Kanan, or at least everybody believes that Kanan ain't that damn bright. And I think they all feel like they can manipulate Kanan. Okay. Y'all, I'm so sorry. I don't know what y'all see on y'all side, but on my side, it's looking real stagnant over here, like it's a delay or something. I don't know what's going on with this thing. I might just take my camera off. Thank you, TJ Naturally, for the super chat. Thank you. Stefano is pissing me off starting stuff. If Marvin gets killed, I'm done with them. I think Kanan getting Rock locked up. Now that is a third option, that she's in jail. That's a third option, that she's in jail. Okay. Marvin early. All right, I told y'all all of that. Rock and David. Oh, child, David is high as hell. Rock trying to get David information. David ain't here for it. He is not serious. And we could tell that he's running a business in the ground, because when Rock said to David, where's everybody? Like, where are all the workers? Y'all, we got to get these docs ready. And he was like, oh, well, we had, people quit because we had payroll issues. So he's snorting up all of the money. So I already knew that David wasn't going to last too much longer, because David can't be trusted to run nothing. He can't be running to nothing. Snaps and Pops meet with the cops and basically tell the cops, listen, y'all was sloppy. Okay. Y'all were real sloppy, and the streets are talking. And now y'all need to find out what Kanan knows, because Kanan thinks that he knows what happened to, Famous, but he wouldn't tell us, so y'all need to go find out. And they were like, oh, okay, we're gonna go get it. We're gonna go find out. Now, Unique also goes to visit Snaps and Pops, because of course, remember, Unique needs a new line. He needs a new pipeline, because Quan is gone and New Jersey is telling him he can't move. And he makes a proposition to Snaps and Pops. And, they were like, we're going to think about it. We're going to think about it. And they're right. Kanan is no strategy. Right, exactly. They know if they can move Rock out the way, that they can pretty much. And also, they know Lou's not around. Now, we see what happens in episode 9. But at this point, Lou's not around. They know Marvin ain't the brightest bulb in the bunch. Marvin is strictly, he's muscle. And he's not good on his feet. Like, he really doesn't think long-term consequences to short-term decisions, right? So they know Marvin is really no threat to them, and they know Kanan isn't. So that's another reason why everybody's trying to move Kanan out the way, because they feel like they can maneuver the situation. We see Juke talking to Rock. It could be seen as a throwaway scene, but I don't think it is. I think there are two things going on in this scene. One, I do think that Jukebox was maybe asking about Grandma, because she even said, well, what happened? And my thing is, why would she be asking that question? As sick as their grandmother was, why would she be asking what happened, knowing that the grandmother was basically terminally ill? So it makes me wonder if she suspects that somebody helped Grandma along the way. And also, I think she's weighing out and trying to see, maybe ask around with Rock, because she doesn't believe that Rock did anything to Famous, but I think she maybe wants to make sure for sure that she doesn't think Rock did anything to Famous. They find OC's body. Again, that is when Kanan realized that OC was not working, that OC didn't just rob him because he got greedy. He's realizing that OC was working for somebody. Now, why he doesn't think it's Unique, I don't know. See, this is the shit that be pissing me off. Why, knowing that Unique was moving in the shadows, like once Unique reappeared and he admitted to Rock that basically he was doing all the shit. He killed the lawyer. He hit their, he hit their connects. He hit their stash spots. Like, what made you think? Why didn't you automatically think it was Unique? why are you questioning what happened in the OC? You gotta believe that Unique had something to do with it. But neither here nor there. He tells Crystal she need to leave town because he can't protect her, right? I can't protect you. You got to go. Crystal tells Kanan, your mama ain't the one. Like, I don't think your mama did anything to Famous. Like, you're so angry with your mother that you think anything bad that happens, your mother has something to do with it. But I really don't think it's your mom. She then goes to visit Rock and she tries to warn Rock, but I really wish she would have came right out with it and said, Kanan think you had something to do with Famous. And I tried to tell him you didn't, but you really need to talk to him before this gets further because he thinks that you had something to do with his friend dying. And it's just ugly. But instead, you're alluding to it and you giving riddles instead of coming right out and telling Rock what she's dealing with. Child. Okay. So then we see Crystal get on the bus and the two crooked cops from Pops and Snaps come and pick her up off the bus. Now, I looked at some different reviews over, the last week. I don't know why people thought Crystal was getting out of that situation. I don't know why anybody thought Crystal was coming home. Crystal was never coming home, okay? They were going to torture her and do the same thing they did with Famous. They were going to try to get whatever they could get out of her, and that was going to be it, okay? Crystal doesn't want to betray Kanan's trust. Remember that whole speech about that? Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's valid, Xavier. So she did it. She went as far as she felt like she could go without totally violating his trust. That's valid. Xavier, that's a valid point. And then we see the return of Lou. Lou and B-Rilla are going into the studio, and Lou is telling B-Rilla, basically, you got me in this stuff because now they're going to come after me and they're going to come after you, and they're not going to stop until one of us is gone. And we saw them going to the studio, and then we saw Kenyatta and his sidekick sitting across the street from the studio, basically saying, we'll sit here until they come out. Now, I'm going to be honest and say, I really wish they had given us a scene inside the studio, because I really would have loved to know, when did Lou realize they were there, and when did they come up with the plan? And I'm going to tell you why. Because Lou, you were smarter than this. Now, I know you've been out the game for a while, and maybe you were a little rusty, but Lou, you smarter than this. You were smarter than doing that across the street with the same people that you knew had robbed the house. Like, you had to know that. So, did you know all along? Or you said you think because I don't think he knew when they went in. I think at some point they figured it out and they devised this plan. Now, don't get me wrong, it was a great plan, but for the fact that it just happened too close to the studio. You know what I'm saying? Because then it automatically put the spotlight on them because of I just feel like it was too close to home. But I also understand that maybe Lou was in a situation where he kind of had to take care of it then. I think Lou used the studio. Now, see, Crystal, that's what I'm saying. If Lou used the studio to smoke them out, then my only issue with that is that Lou did it too close to the studio. But of course, I know what the purpose of that scene was. The purpose of that scene was to show us that Lou is back, right? They gave us this whole moment with Lou in the middle of the street, finishing the guy off. You know what I mean? Like, it was a moment. Don't get me wrong. It was a moment, and I was here for it, because for all of us who remember Lou from season 1 and season 2, it definitely gave us flashback scenes of Lou, right? It definitely gave us those flashback scenes, but baby, Lou is back, okay? Lou took care of that, and Lou is back. So that was the end. That was the end of episode 8. So let's get into episode 9. We start episode 9. We see that Crystal has been holed up. Now, we know that she was doped up. She's naked, half naked. So I guess they're alluding to the fact that maybe she was assaulted. Hair was all matted. Definitely looked like she had been through some stuff. We know she had been there a couple of days. Now, I already knew Crystal wasn't going to make it out. But this is when I really knew Crystal wasn't going to make it out. is when Snaps showed her face. Ain't no way in hell Crystal was ever coming back home knowing Snaps saw her face and she talking to her just as nice. Oh, I'm gonna get you out of here. I said, come on now. This is the setup for the setup. So I knew then if I had any glimpse of hope that Crystal was coming home, I knew then that was a wrap. So she basically gets Crystal to talk. And again, Crystal told them what they wanted to know, which was, who does Kanan think had something to do with Famous's death? And the minute she said Rock, I knew that was the end of her, which it was. That was the end of that conversation. But I also knew that they were going to use it to their advantage. I also knew they were going to use it to their advantage. Right. They could have at least let that girl finish her sandwich. You sat there and made that nice little peanut butter and jelly sandwich for her, and you ain't even going to let her finish eating it. I mean, damn. But yeah. Okay. Crystal had to eat that awful sandwich as her last meal. She ain't even get a chance to finish it though. The cops show up at the studio and they're looking for, they're questioning Lou and B Rilla about the bodies in front of the studio. And honestly, you guys, I'm gonna say this too. I knew that was the end of the girlfriend too. I knew that was the end of the girlfriend when she was wavering on giving Lou an alibi. When Lou said he was at his girlfriend's house at 11 o'clock and the cops were like, was he there? And she was like, I'm not sure. I ain't checked the clock. I said, oh yeah, that's a wrap for her. I was like, if you're going to be with Lou, you got to be with Lou. And, and she ends up breaking up with Lou. She tell Lou, look, I don't know what you into, or what you're not gonna do is put me in the middle of your bullshit. You ain't gonna lie to the cops and have me in the middle of it. You know good damn well you wasn't at my house at no 11 o'clock. You ain't get there till an hour later. So again, I guess they brought her in to show that Lou is back with the life. You know what I'm saying? And he need a real one and she ain't a real one, I guess. I don't know. Because by the end of episode 9, Lou is 100% out of the straight life and 100% back in the, back with Rock. But we'll get to that. We see that Kanan realizes that Crystal never made it to Delaware. Crystal never got out, made it to Delaware. And so he spends the rest of the episode looking for her child. Kanan and Rock and who? Lord, I can't read my own handwriting. Oh, Kanan, Rock, and Jukebox. So Kanan and Jukebox are down at the at their little diner. And Jukebox invited Rock to come down there. And of course, Kanan is pissed off about it. He don't, Rock was like, I've been trying to call you. I done called you like 100 times. And Kanan was like, and when I didn't answer 100 times, you thought that you didn't understand that meant I didn't want to talk to you. So that's when they have this conversation, which in my opinion, I'm sick of the conversation. Like, Kanan, your ass, you're so filled up with hate for your mother that you won't take any accountability for anything that you did that led us to where we are. I get it. You mad at Rock. You think that Rock goes too far. You don't like the moves that Rock makes. But at the end of the day, what pisses me off is even after you've been in this game and you've had your own setbacks and you've made your own bad decisions, the fact that you still don't understand why Rock moves the way she moves and why Rock has made some of the decisions that she's made, it pisses me off because I still don't understand what you don't understand. But okay. So then, and of course, Kanan is, she tells Kanan that Crystal came to see her. And that's when Rock realizes, oh, wait a minute, you think I had something to do with it? She was like, why would I do anything? Like, if I did have something to do with it, why would I tell you Crystal was at my house? Like, why would I tell you Crystal came by my house if I did something to Crystal? You know what I'm saying? I want to say, did she realize that he thinks that she did something famous too at that moment? I didn't put that in my notes. his hate for his mother is clouding his judgment big time. Yeah, it really, really is. Lou should have at least asked before he sprung it on her. Well, I think Lou thought, see, again, when you're in the life and you deal with certain types of women, you just know they're going to say what needs to be said. Like, because that's what you signed up for. When you out here messing with a hood dude, you sign up for this type of stuff. The problem is she didn't sign up for a hood dude. She signed up for a music producer. You know what I'm saying? Like Jessica wouldn't have hesitated. Hold on, y'all. Jessica wouldn't have hesitated. Child, I keep telling y'all the temperatures around here. 1 minute it's hot, 1 minute it's cold. I don't know whether to open my windows, close my windows, turn the air on, turn the heat off. I'm sitting here sweating. So I had to open up a window or turn the air conditioner on or something. I'm in here sweating. But anyway, if that's Lou's storyline, I hope he's gone. He no longer has a purpose. If this is Lou's storyline, you hope who's gone? You hope she's gone or he's gone? Who is he? Well, she's gone. That's a wrap. I don't think we see her anymore. I think the whole purpose of that was for us to show that Lou really doesn't want to be straight. Like go straight. You know what I'm saying? So Early rolls up on Marvin. And Early tells Marvin, listen, my family's not going to stand for this. We know you the one that took up Lydell. Now, at first, Marvin was like, I didn't have nothing to do with it. But then Marvin hits him with and if I did do something, what you going to do about it? Now, Marvin, I knew in that moment that this was going to be the beginning and end for Marvin. I don't think Marvin makes it out of season 9. Maybe season 10. But I mean, when I say Susan, I mean episode 10 is what I mean. I didn't think he was going to make it out of this episode, if I'm being honest. I thought Early was going to catch up with him in the back alley somewhere. Like I honestly thought Early was going to catch him slipping. I didn't really see Early making the move that he made, if I'm being honest with you, but it was a smart move. The move that Early made was actually a smart move. What Early ended up doing was going down to Stefano and telling him Marvin gave him the green light, and Marvin told him he could take the man out. So he was smart because he went to Stefano and said, I did it, but Marvin told me I could. That was actually a smart move. Now, Stefano actually uses it and tries to use it as a pawn in his power play with Rock. He goes and tells Rock, your brother made this move behind my back, but he was trying to move you out the way. He was trying to work with me and take your position. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know why Stefano thinks that's gonna work. Like, there was at no point in that conversation was Rock ever thinking about the fact that Marvin really was going to try to take her out. Like, I think she understands that Marvin doesn't want that position. And maybe at one point in time, Marvin had that position. Remember, Marvin had that position and then he got on drugs and then he lost that position. And maybe season 1, Marvin, maybe. But at this point, I think Rock understands 100%. Yeah, Marvin don't want this position. So she sees what I keep saying Stefano. She sees what he's doing. So she didn't fall for it, but she let Marvin know, you fucked up. Early came back here and told Stefano everything. Like, you fucked up. Now, I don't know what she's going to do about Marvin, but she definitely understands that, Marvin making these bad decisions and making these audibles is fucking them up. And that's why I just don't think Marvin makes it out. I think if any of the Thomas family doesn't make it out, Marvin is at the top of my list. We know Juke and Kanan make it out, obviously. But out of the 3 siblings, Marvin is definitely at the top of my list of who ain't making it out. And I think it's going to come from a place that we don't suspect. But okay. Kanan spends the rest of the episode looking for Crystal. He done rolled up on Crystal's mother's boyfriend, beat his ass. Like, he moving all around trying to figure out where Crystal is. He calling the hospitals. He doing all this stuff, moving around. And we'll get to that at the end. Then David, Unique puts a hit out on David. So Unique unalives David. And of course, now it puts Rock in a situation because she's like, how are we gonna move these vehicles? And that's why they went to go see Stefano, because Marvin was like, well, he might have some trucks that we can use. And Stefano lets him know, okay, you can use my trucks, but that's a temporary fix. That's not a long-term fix. Y'all gonna have to figure out something else. But for right now, sure, y'all can use my trucks, to get these products moved around. Garcia is becoming more and more aggressive with his pursuit of Jukebox. He ran down on Jukebox at the pizza shop. He done went to go see the girlfriend. I mean, the friend, she wasn't her girlfriend, but the friend that Jukebox, when Jukebox and Marvin unalived her husband, he done ran down on her. And then in this episode, old girl comes home from Spelman for a visit. Her and Jukebox are out on a cute little date, and Garcia rolls up on Jukebox again. And Jukebox keeps telling him, I don't have nothing to say to you. I don't want to talk to you. I don't have nothing to do with you. Why? Just leave me the hell alone. Although we'll get back to that in a minute. Let me go through my notes, make sure I'm hitting everything, honey. Comps, Crystal, Kanan, Early, Kanan, David, Early, Kanan. So this is when Kanan goes to Unique. And again, him and Unique have a really good, heart-to-heart conversation. And that's when Unique was like, who took out my brother? And Kanan was like, I did it. And I don't have no regrets. And I would do it again. And in that moment, you saw Unique have respect, because I think Unique was half expecting Kanan to deny it or blame it on Rock. And of course, Kanan was there and he saw it. So he knows who actually pulled the trigger. And Kanan tells him, and Unique tells Kanan again, listen, man, you can work together. However, your mama is your problem. And, we got to get Rock out the way. And again, I don't understand why Kanan doesn't think that Unique had anything to do with his stash coming up. Like, even when his stash spot got hit, even with OC, like, I don't know why he's not connecting. Or even if he is connecting, why you're willing to trust Unique more than, and I get it, his hate for his mother, I guess. I answered my own question. His hate for his mother, I guess. It's just his hate for his mother. Anyway, and Rock actually sees this. Rock actually sees Kanan meeting up with Unique. So she definitely knows she in a bad spot. She knows she's in a bad spot. I already told y'all that Stefano goes to Rock, child. We see all the pieces lining up on the board, though. Lou goes to Rock and tells Lou he wants in. He's like, look, I don't want this life anymore. I need in. And he gives her this whole song and dance about wanting to get back in and all of this. And Rock was like, listen, we've been here before. And I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know. She was like, Scrappy, D-Wiz, like, none of that changed. Like, none of that stuff has changed. All the reasons why you wanted to leave in the first place are still here. So I need you to make sure that you're sure, because I'm not playing this game with you no more. I'm not doing this back and forth. So I need you to be sure that you're sure that this is what you really want to do. Okay. But she tells Lou, listen, at the end of the day, if you want work, I got work. Like, because she got that whole shipment of drugs that she got to move. So she was like, if you want work, I got some work for you. And we see him talking to B Rilla, because B Rilla was like, so you came down to the penitentiary, got me out of jail just to leave me hanging. Like, now that you're gone, they're never going to finish my album. And I got to eat. And Lou was like, look, I'm going to be honest with you. That's the one thing I regret. But at the end of the day, I'm out. Like, I can't help you. He was like, and B Rilla was like, look, I need work. Like, I don't even care what it looked like. I just need to eat. And Lou was like, well, if you want to work, I got work for you. So I guess B Rilla is going to be Lou's right-hand man now. And Lou is back to being Rock's right-hand man. I'm going to get back to this. Let me put a star next to this, because I don't care nothing about this storyline, but I want to talk about it. But I'm gonna finish this out first before we get to that. And I'm sure y'all all know what storyline I'm talking about, but I'm gonna get back to that in a second because we're almost done with this episode. Pops and Snaps meet with Kanan, and y'all guessed it. They basically end up telling Kanan Rock was the one that they talked to their police connect, and the word on the street is Rock is the one. Some dirty cops. Rock paid some dirty cops to take Famous out, and of course, that's all Kanan needed to hear because he already had it in his head, and that's all the confirmation that he needed was to make sure that So we already know what direction that is going in. And then the episode ends with Unique and Rock. Now Unique knows that Rock did not unalive Ronnie. Right. Well, he knew all along. But he knew all along that Rock didn't pull the trigger, but he thought they were all in it together. He thought that Rock and Kanan were working together to take Ronnie out. But again, all of these people are being fueled by their anger. If Unique would think it through, Unique knows that Rock didn't take out Ronnie. But again, they're all fueled by the anger. And remember, Unique brain ain't right. Now, I know they haven't given us the whole slamming his head against the steering wheel in a couple of episodes, but Unique ain't all there. Unique, he ain't all there. The last thing we see in the episode is we see we see Rock and Lou going down to the tailor shop to meet up with Unique. Now, from the previews for next week, it looks like that conversation didn't go too well. It looks like that conversation didn't go too well. Now, Kanan is losing his mind trying to find Crystal. And Jukebox says, well, I might be able to get you some information, but it's complicated. I knew then she was going to call Garcia, which is exactly what she did. She called Garcia. Garcia found a Jane Doe, which of course ended up being Crystal. And he was like, now you owe me. I feel like we're getting the answers to all the questions we have about Jukebox in this week. For as bad as Jukebox has always been, like on whatever, Jukebox has always had an affinity for law enforcement, right? Like we saw her getting close to the other cop that ended up getting killed, and now we see her with Garcia, and she knows that Garcia doesn't mean her any good. Don't get me wrong. Like, I don't think she's fooled into thinking her and Garcia are friends, but she doesn't have a problem playing the game if she feels like it's going to be to her benefit. And so she understands now that she owes Garcia something that I don't know what Garcia is going to want from her or when and how he going to collect. But she understands it. And so when we keep saying, how did she end up a cop? How did she end up a cop? So it feels like, I don't know. It just feels like that's that connection that's always been there. I think Jukebox is going to use the Garcia Connect to take out Pops and Snaps. I definitely think Pops and Snaps days are numbered, but I don't think that, I definitely don't think that happens this season. We only have one more episode, but I definitely think Pops and Snaps don't make it out of next season. I don't think they make it out of next season, if I'm being honest, because at some point it's going to come out that that it was them. Garcia wants to solve the murder of Famous too. Yeah, true. Now, if I'm being honest about something, this storyline with Marvin and Amber, I honestly have no idea why they are giving us this storyline. The only thing I can think of, as to why they are giving us this storyline of Amber and Marvin is because they know they left us hanging with the little girl on the original Power. Like, the only thing I can think of is that they feel like they owe us this storyline. Y'all don't. Y'all didn't owe us this storyline. Y'all could have left us, because I wasn't even thinking about that little girl. The fact that y'all keep bringing that little girl up and keep showing us what's going on with that little girl, there's got to be something more that's bigger, that's connected. And that's why I said earlier that I don't think Marvin makes it out, but I don't think it's coming from the direction we think it's going to come from. I really think that Marvin's obsession with making sure this little girl is good is really going to be Marvin's downfall, because that's really his only weak spot, right? There's absolutely no reason why they keep bringing Marvin back around to this little white girl. That's what I think, Nubian. That's the only thing I can think of, is that Marvin is going, that this little girl is going to get, because of all the things that Marvin has done and all the mistakes he's made out there on the streets. I think his connection to her is going to be the downfall. It's weird to me. It's just weird to me how they keep bringing us back around to her. It's just stupid to me. I don't get it. I don't get it. But that was episodes 8 and 9. You guys, that was episodes 8 and 9. Next week is the season finale. But it was a good season so far. From the previews for next week, it looks like it's going to be a action-packed episode. And like I said, I think we lose a major character next week, and I think it's Marvin. I just don't think Marvin makes it out. I just don't. Because remember, Marvin got early after him. Marvin got the mob after him. And now he had the whole situation down to the house with the little girl. I just feel like Marvin got too many. He got too many people looking for him. But anyway, that's what it, you guys. I will talk to y'all later. Don't forget, tomorrow we have Never Ever Meets at 1. We have the Real Housewives of Atlanta at 9:15-ish. I'm going to come live in the morning for Mother's Day before I get started on my day. So I will see you guys tomorrow. Thank y'all for being here. Thank you for the super chat, and I appreciate y'all. Mwah! Talk to y'all later. Peace.